all doing well. It's been a little while and I'm so excited today to talk to you all about Sitz Baths. I have been encouraging my mama clients to use Sitz Baths, and I am just such a believer of using warm elements during postpartum. So this video will be all about the Sitz Baths that you can purchase, the actual basins, the herbs to use, and some quick, easy tips and tricks to helping you make Sitz Baths, whether it's on the fly or if you are preparing a little bit more for postpartum now. I am your girl. Let's chat about it and let's jump right in. So as a postpartum doula, I have supported families for over 13 years, and I found that warmth is your friend. Traditional Chinese medicine to so many other medicine beliefs, other Ayurvedic, they all really boil down to using warm healing compresses, warm healing Sitz Baths, belly binds, everything warm food, warm tea. Warmth really encourages blood flow, and that really encourages circulation, and that's what we really want. No stagnation. We want things to move around in the body to really recover and get more warmth to the body so that healing can take place at a really good, solid rate. But anyways, I'm excited to chat with you all about Sitz Bath basins because there's so many out there. It's so confusing. What is a Sitz Bath? And I thought we could dive into that. So if you're looking to learn a little bit more about Sitz Baths, basically they're a basin that you put into your toilet and essentially you sit in it, and it can be really warming and healing for the body. And what I really love is that they're supportive for all bodies, but what I really love is if you have experienced a tear, 1st degree to 4th degree or whatever, this can feel really healing versus using a lot of cold elements. And you have to see what's best for you for postpartum. So I'm not a hater of cold by any means. Some mamas really thrive with cold elements, but if you're really focusing on making padsicles and all that, I would really look into warmth and what warmth does. The more warmth to a space brings more blood flow, which creates more healing. Cold is an astringent, which really slows down the healing but can calm down inflammation. So you might want to do a blend of both. I'm not team this or that, and I think when people really do extremes, that's when we don't have healing. We really need a good balance. So find the balance that's best for you. I know that cold usually is supportive of the first couple days if you are dealing with a lot of inflammation, a lot of uncomfortable feeling in that space, or if you had a tear or whatever. But eventually heat is going to be your best friend. So what I really love with the Sitz Bath basin is you don't have to add hot water. You could add cold water if you wanted to, but what you can do is you can add the warm water into the space, and basically we push out the basin, and you can add warm water. You could add, and I'll go into more about the herbs, but you could add your own peri-bottle tea if you made a little peri-bottle tea or a Sitz Bath tea, and essentially you just sit in it. So once you put it into your toilet seat up, I'm going to show you more what that looks like. But once you put that toilet seat up and you put the basin in, you're good to go. Little slots here, these little spots here, allow water to overflow back into your toilet. So if you put it in your toilet, you're going to move it forward, so there's some space in the back so that the water can backflow in a sense into that. Once you go into the space, it's going to definitely splash a little bit. So that's like your splash zone in the back. But what I really love is if you put a towel on the floor, it is easy to manage if there's any spillage, but it's just herbs. It's not going to really cause any problems. But what I really love is that you can spend about 5 to 10 minutes in here as long as it feels good. Some mamas do a little bit longer and they find really good relief in it. And again, we're going to chat more about herbs, but essentially that's what a Sitz Bath is. And the reason why a lot of people favor a Sitz Bath over a regular bath for the first 6 weeks is because their doctor or midwife will encourage it, mainly because of bacteria. So having a full bath, especially if you have any wounds that are healing, we want to just keep bacteria in its place. What would be better is to just isolate this one area and allow it to heal versus sitting in a bath where your whole body can really soak and bacteria can grow or whatever. I am not too worried about a very shallow bath, but again, I'm not your doula, so definitely talk to your doctor, your midwife, your whole support team, because they're going to know a lot more than somebody online. But again, this can be a really great tool for mamas that just want something really quick. They can sit in it, and it's better oftentimes than getting into a tub because it's easier to sit in. It's really hard with your muscles to really challenge them to go into a lower setting after birth. This is a lot easier because a toilet is a little bit higher. So definitely this is one. Now this is a plastic one, so I will say the caveat here is microplastics, and as a doula, like, of course I say it's only 6 weeks of your life, but if we can eliminate the additional microplastics in our life. Why not? Because you're in the most gentle, absorbent space in your body. There's lymphs and everything, lymph nodes, everything is in that area, your groin area. So why not use something that is a little bit more gentle? And I really love that there is a metal one. We now have a metal one. And what I really love is that it's stainless steel and you can put it in your toilet regardless, but now you've eliminated the plastics, which is great. And typically these are in the hundreds. I never can find one under $100 USD, but I found this one for $39, I believe. It might change by the time you look for it, but I'll put the information down below of my very favorite one, including the plastic one, because on the fly, like as a doula, I'll buy one of those and just give it to my mama client when they need it. You cannot reuse them. I would encourage you not to reuse them. But what's really great is if you were a mama, this is gonna be your second postpartum or third postpartum, or you're planning on many babies ahead, you can actually reuse this so many times, just sterilize it easily. You can sterilize it easily with hydrogen peroxide or vinegar, thieves oil, whatever, and you can clean it up really, really good to use it between postpartum. So really loving this one, and you can put it in the toilet as well. I'll show you more what that looks like in a second. But essentially that is what it is, Sitz Baths are all about. I'm in my kitchen mainly because I want to talk to you more about herbs, talk more about how to install your Sitz Bath. So I have all of the items here that you're going to need to make a Sitz Bath. I love getting a nice pot out that's easy to carry. So I usually don't get like the big stock pots. I'll use something smaller, but you can use a stock pot too. This is just easier for me to manage. I only need a little bit to show you all. And then I have the little sachets from, I always say sachets, is it sachets? Sachets. I have these from Honeybee Hippie. So this is full of all of the goodies, and it makes things so much easier that you just pop this into the hot water and you're good to go, versus this is a little, you know, it's a loose leaf, it's a little messy, but sometimes with the clients, I usually just pour this in here and then I will strain it. You can do that too. I'm going to show you both ways, but ideally this is so much easier just to pop that in. And just one less step, but sometimes you want really fresh herbs, and I totally get that. So it's up to you what you feel, but these are really fresh too. It just depends on, you know, how soon you buy it, how soon you make this for postpartum, all of those things. So let's do a nice little put together. And I will say caveat, I am on a whole nother day. I got tired last night, so I didn't film the other half, but we're gonna do that today. So that's why I'm in a separate or a whole different outfit. After I pop this in, we're gonna let it steep for like 10 to 20 minutes just so you can see what it looks like, but typically I'll just let it sit overnight. But really be mindful of the herbs you're using and make sure to always use a lid after you have the herbal concoction in there, the dried goods. Put a lid on because you want to make sure that we keep all that steam in. Different herbs are really affected differently by temperature and how you steep them. So just look into that, but usually my tried and true go-to is just letting something sit overnight and put a lid on it. Okay, so now we have the hot water going on the stove, and then we're gonna add the herbs in, and then after that, easy breezy, just put the lid on it and you're good to go. I really love this time to be just very mindful of how I'm going to preserve the herbs, and you can do that different ways. I sometimes will use weck jars. I will sometimes use mason jars, but if I use a mason jar with a lid that is metal, I'm really mindful that sometimes that will add rust into the water. So if you are going to use a mason jar, just make sure that you put a nice piece of plastic or parchment paper, or if you want to use like wax paper, that'd be a little bit more natural, parchment paper that's not bleached, all of those things you can play with. So this is my go-to for all things whimsical for glasses, but also for storage. We really love our weck jars. We get every dollar out from each purchase because we use them for so many different things. Juicing to extra oatmeal that we maybe made on the weekend that we want to throw in. It like doesn't take a lot. You just throw the lid on, and I never have to use like the little plastic rubber piece in here and then the little metal clips. You don't really need that because I'm not looking for airtight, but you could do something more airtight if you needed it. But mostly it's just the weighted glass is all I need. You could use these for your herbs. Once you make that beautiful Sitz Bath tea, you could add these simply and take them into your bathroom or keep them in the fridge and use your herbs, your herbal blend, your herbal tea as needed. So anyways, love these. They're an investment piece, but so worth it. We use them for everything. When I say like biggest useful purchase ever is buying a big piece or buying a big pack of these. I just love them. I'm using for everything. Coffee, extra espresso shots on the weekend. We made extra and we're like, we'll make iced coffee later. These are our go-to. So anyways, definitely encourage you, and I'm going to use those in a few minutes to preserve the tea. But I also have this beautiful one that I use for like celery juice a lot of times on the weekend. This is our go-to for bigger quantity, anything we make. So anyways, I highly suggest you check out Weck jars. I'll put down below where you can purchase them. I have them all over my Amazon storefront, and just huge lover of all things Weck jars. So anyways, that would be my go-to. I do have glass mason jars up there, but we're not even gonna go there because I just don't like the idea of rust going in your Sitz Bath herbs, Sitz Bath peri bottle tea blends. So anyways. I'm now gonna turn off the heat because this was doing a nice little bubble boil. I turned it down a little bit. But now that we had that rolling boil, we're gonna just put the lid on and let it steep overnight. But I'm going to show you now how to do the same process, but this time with a bigger pot. So now that the tea is steeping and it's doing this thing on the stovetop, I'm going to give it about 15 minutes and then I'm going to try to cool it down so I can show you all for this video. But normally, again, just let it go overnight, let it do its thing, let it come down to room temp, and then you can pop it in the fridge. But let me show you what I really love for my postpartum mamas to have in their bathroom. So cute, cute, cute. I put together a little basket that you can actually keep your Sitz Bath basins in. I really love having this close to the toilet or on a command hook on the wall, because during postpartum, it's going to be just one extra thing you're not going to want to think about for your recovery is like actually getting out the Sitz Bath and the whole thing. So what I really love is having a nice spray bottle of thieves next to the toilet where I can spray down the Sitz Bath basin, throw it in the shower, and then you can simply just wash it and go and reuse it. But what you could do is get a really nice basket that is easy to dry. It can dry simply by just having it out. And when you're done with washing it and rinsing it, just throw it into this basket and then use it as needed. And again, it's just really nice because it hides it, but also it's still accessible that you can grab it when you need it. So I have in here the Sitz Bath basin, the plastic one, and I also have my metal one. So I thought we could do that now, is install it into the toilet so that you know how to use it properly. And I can share a little bit of some simple tips and tricks to showing you how to install it properly, how to, use the towels right, to make sure that you're not splashing and making a mess and all those things. But still, it doesn't matter too much. It's just Sitz Bath tea. It's just made of a bunch of herbs and it has, it has water in there, so it's easy to wipe away. But anyways, let me show you what I'm thinking, and let's get you ready to use your Sitz Bath. Now let's install the Sitz Bath basins. This first one is the plastic one. It has a little splash zone. You're gonna want to essentially put it towards the front so there's more space in the back, so there's more of a splash zone. When you sit in it, sometimes water overflows, so I guess you'd call it a little overflow area. But you're just gonna pop it into your toilet like this and make sure that it is situated towards the front. So you don't wanna slide it towards the back, because then obviously there's not a lot of space for the Sitz Bath to like overflow, and it might overflow in the front. That's how you wanna place it. Let me show you how to use the metal one. It's just as easy, actually maybe easier, because again, you'll have space to overflow. It just naturally overflows towards the back. And it fits most toilets. You pop it in, really, really easy, and you just add the tea. So simple. But I think we might want to make this a little bit more cozy. So now let's go get the Sitz Bath tea, and then we're going to make this space really cozy. Now that we made the Sitz Bath space so ready to go and got the essentials out, we need to make it cozy. And what I really love is to add the Sitz Bath tea, so have it in little tinctures or little jars, or like the wet jars. And then I like to add a candle or essential oil, like a little aromatherapy diffuser, maybe a nice little peri bottle ready to go with the same amount of Sitz Bath tea ready to use. And then also I'm probably going to include maybe like one little candle or something, or maybe a journal. That I don't know, but we'll see. I just want to play with this. Also, if you have a rug, that might make it even more cozy, but let's play with what we have and see if we can make it extra comforting and making you, welcoming you, and making you want to be in that space. So I put all the things we're gonna need in our powder bathroom. Of course, if you're doing this in your main bathroom, I'm sure you have way more space. And the reason why I'm doing it in this space is because my actual bathroom is way too dark. It's just not a very bright bathroom, but this one is very bright. So I put together all the things you're gonna need. I mean, obviously these are things that I just really love as a doula to have in the space, but totally your call what you feel like is actually a need. I have a nice basket, which I'm gonna put these really nice washcloths in. I like these washcloths because they're great for dabbing after you use your peri bottle, which our peri bottle is over here looking cute with the bow on it. And I like taking these washcloths, rolling them up, putting them in a basket so mamas can use them one use and then throw them in an additional basket, which you could probably make that basket if you put a little trash bag liner in there for laundry. And that's better than using toilet paper, because toilet paper, suspect right there, leaves a lot of extra paper along, and it doesn't feel good to rub in that space, especially if you're recovering from a tear. So I really love getting dark ones so that they don't show any of the peri bottle tea or any bleeding or anything like that, any blood stains or anything like that. You are going to be able to reuse them in the future. So we have those, so we're gonna pop those in here in a second, make it look really cute. And then I have extra Sitz Bath herb blends, so these can go in there just to be a reminder to use and make more. So we have those. We have our peri bottle tea / Sitz Bath tea here. Our peri bottle's full of the tea, so we're good. I added a diffuser, so I'm gonna diffuse some essential oils, which I think is really cozy. I'm gonna do cypress today. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm gonna do cypress oil today because it's just a favorite of mine. It just smells so relaxing, so earthy and woodsy and all the things. I also have the peri bottle mist here from Fat in the Moon, just to kind of play around with. And then we also have the peri spray from Wild Oaks, so that's there. And then I put some dried florals in here, some more dried florals just to make it cozy and fun. And then I also over here have a little candle, which I'm gonna turn on in a second away from the wall, but that's the combo there. And then I have extra Sitz Bath basin, again, your choice what you prefer, but this Sitz Bath basin is plastic, so keep that in mind. And then I have a towel, which I'm gonna put the towel on the floor just to protect the floor when using a Sitz Bath basin. So I usually use a dark one. That's there for a reason. And then we have the basket for when we want to throw in our Sitz Bath basins to dry and hang out. And then I brought in my cocktail, my favorite cocktail little table. I cannot stop talking about these because they're so good. They're only 30, I think 39. Maybe don't quote me on that. Maybe they're 59 now, but they were on sale for a while. And I got 3 of them for home. And they're really great for mugs of tea, coffee in the morning. I like taking them everywhere. I suggest my clients get them for postpartum because you can actually put like your pumping items on there, and they're very lightweight to move around, but they actually like stay still and you can put all the things on there. But I thought you could put it over here by the toilet and have your peri bottle and all the things on there when you have a smaller bathroom like our powder bathroom. So anyways, let me show you how I put this together. It's very easy. And then from here, it just calls for you to get cozy in the space. That's it. So the question is, will you surrender to healing and just allow yourself to rest? That's the question. Almost forgot, but having some really great, beautiful twinkly lights is going to be such a game changer. So these are very needed. Don't feel like they're a luxury. They're, I think, just like 50 cents each for these little packets, and they're on this little battery, so you can just replace the battery versus having to try to find a plug-in. They're very easy. Just have to unwind them, which is the time that you spend the most with any of this project, is going to be unwinding these. Fun hanging out with you all and putting together the most beautiful sitz bath space that's very autumnal. If you notice, we did like a very fun autumnal theme. Of course, you don't need all these things, like you just need a great sitz bath basin and you can pop that into your toilet and you're good to go. But I love just adding these little whimsical touches to just help your healing and your recovery. And my biggest belief as a doula is that when we add layers of things that really just bring us joy, they help our body just relax and we can just have a calm nervous system. And honestly, like, this is your postpartum time. So if you don't have these little moments of whimsy and joy in this, like the mundane things, like your peri bottle having like a little bow on it, then what can we enjoy? Because these are the things that are just gonna go by every day, but we do them over and over again. And it's almost like they're so repetitive that we think nothing of it. But the whole journey of pregnancy and postpartum is such a miracle in itself. Like, why not have these little things to enjoy and to just kind of sprinkle through your postpartum journey? Of course, the challenges are there. As a doula, I never sugarcoat that. There's absolutely challenges with postpartum as there is pregnancy, but there's so much joy too to be found, and really just catching onto those glimmers can help our nervous system exhale and relax, and we can just really take a lot more things in stride because our body is in that healing zone. So anyways, I'm so happy that we chat. I'm so happy that we could just go through how to make a sitz bath. You're welcome to look down below. The description will be filled with all of the goodies, all of the things that I applied here as a doula. And also, I do say that I really want to encourage you to reach out to a postpartum doula in person so they can pamper and love on you and just help you with your healing journey. And that being said, I'm so excited because I think the next video I'll be doing more of a deep dive into belly binding. I have a belly bind video that you can look at, and it really goes in depth about how to belly bind, especially using the Beng belly bind method. But this one's going to be a little bit more detail oriented, and I cannot wait to chat with you all soon. So I hope you're doing well. I hope you fill up your sitz bath. I hope you fill up your peri bottle, and I will talk to you soon next time. And I hope you have a great healing postpartum journey. Take care.